This is a very, very, very old question. How do you do the double justification trick? I guess it's not an exploit because it's been around since like when Hoi 4 came out. So I guess the devs have accepted that it's a fundamental part of Hearts of Iron 4. So in that case, it's actually officially part of the game and it's a legitimate strategy that you can actually do. But how do you pull it off? First things first. Double justification glitch strategy is the ability to justify and declare war with two nations at the exact same time, with the idea behind it of annexing both of them in synchronization, or declaring war on them on synchronization, and then annexing them. That way, you gobble up a lot of land because you've eaten two nations, and also you've not spiked world tension high enough to cause the UK, France, or any of the other allies to guarantee them, so you don't create World War II. It is quite common for fascist and communist nations to try and do this as early as possible in an AI game, because that way you can gobble up a huge amount of land. A huge amount. It is very, very effective at some of the nations that do start off fascist, because you have to flip to that ideology or communist before you're able to do it. The traditional way, let's just spike world tension threat 25%, and then we're going to add some PP, and then we're going to justify on Austria. Wait a little bit of time, because at the start of the game, no one starts with any political power, so you need to get 25 political power for everyone else in the world before they can start justifying. There we go. And 22 days in, UK has got enough PP to justify Austria. Now, the reason why they did that is that world tension went above 25%, 25 or higher, and therefore this nation would now be defended under the League of Nations, the allies in that case. Therefore, your plans are unfortunately screwed. You will not be able to annex Austria unless you could do it by a focus tree, which is the exception to that rule. So here comes the double justification strategy. So one common strategy that you see quite often in my videos is I'll flip ideology as quickly as possible, which you've seen me done this like dozens of times as Yugoslavia, and then I'll try and justify as early as possible to gobble up as many nations as possible. Because the way it normally plays out is that Germany, Japan create a lot of world tension early on leading up to 1939 for obvious reasons. If you're playing with historical turned off, unfortunately, you're screwed. There's no way you're going to be able to do this because world tension will spike rapidly and really quickly. You won't have a lot of control over it. So good luck to you on that. This, for the most case, this strategy is for a historical game. Historical game, by the way. Luckily, if you're playing as an unaligned nation or a democratic one, or for any ideal that isn't fascist or communist, you have the ability to flip ideologies, in most cases, pretty quickly if you do it by, let's say, an advisor. And in most cases, the quickest way of doing it is by a civil war. You can usually do it smart with a small nation by deleting all army, spawning divisions in on the front line, even up the land, civil war is over, and you've done it in like 6 months' time in lightning speed. You can do it by referendum, which is a great way of keeping your stability and keeping all your generals, because you lose half your generals in the civil war, half of them go to the other side, and you never get them back. But unfortunately, the referendum method takes a lot longer because you need 50% of your ideology to do that, and that just takes a very long time. Unless you want to take a big hit to your stability by pressing one of the other decisions. But then you don't want to lose your stability, because then why just not go for the civil war method? Let's just flip ideology, and you can do that pretty quickly by going for Tito as Yugoslavia, boosting, doing a civil war, etc., etc. Tito, Mr. Joseph, is now in power. Now, there are two methods of doing this. The first method is the triple justification. So you justify on 3 states, which adds up to 350 days. And the next one, you do it on Bulgaria for a single state, and that's 355 days. As long as they clash by 30 days, in this case, only 5 days within, that will do. So now, these two justifications are synchronized. So meaning when I declare war, I can declare war both at the same time, and their world tension will only spike over 25% when the wars are already happening. And you can't guarantee nations that are currently already at war. Now, we have to wait. Be aware, at the very start of the game, there are a lot of nations that are already guaranteed. In this case, we have France guaranteeing Romania, France guaranteeing Yugoslavia. The Balkans basically is under French temporary control to maintain the balance of power. Now, there are some focuses that come a little bit later on for Romania and Yugoslavia and a few other nations that will remove French guarantees as these nations decide to look after themselves. I wonder if anything bad could happen because of that. Anyway, let's wait for the justifications to complete. So as you can see, there's a bunch of wars that happen around the world that spike world tension. So you've got the Spanish Civil War, which spikes it a little bit. And then later on in 1938, I think it's late 1938, you'll get Japan declaring China, and this will spike it again by another 5%. So be aware, you're always looking to do this in the quickest possible time because you want to keep world tension below 25%. Because if it goes over 25%, you're done for. Be aware too that if you justify on a large nation, it will spike world tension even more. So for instance, if I was to justify on the Soviet Union, that's 32% increase in world tension. That's massive. And like the United States too, 59%. I think it scales based on the amount of factories they've got and how much of a major power they are. And also be aware that world tension also ticks down over time. I think every maybe 6 months it ticks down down by 1% until it reaches 100% mark, which it just skyrockets and you never get it down ever again. So the justification on Romania will complete on the 18th of December 1936, and the one on Bulgaria will complete on the 23rd of December 1936. So the earliest we can declare war is the 23rd of December. You always want to declare on the latest one, because remember, you have to synchronize them to happen at the same time. There we go. The Romanian one is done. So whenever you declare war, world tension will spike. Now both of the justifications are done. So if you hover over your available war goals, you can see we have a justification on 3 states in Romania and 1 state in Bulgaria. Now, declaring war without unpausing will spike world tension by 1%. Now, this is going to get risky because remember, you're going to be near 25% anyway if Japan's declared war on China. And then once again, if you just declare war on Bulgaria, once again, it's spiked by another 1%. But look at the beautiful situation we've got right now. Now, of course, France will declare war on me now because Romania will get called. Romania will call France. Oh, no. No, they won't. No, they won't. Oh, no. Okay, this is another little secret thing. So when you're guaranteed by a nation and you declare war on a nation that also has a guarantee, it's the double cancellation denies each other. So for right now, Romania is guaranteed by France, but so am I. So that means that guarantee in Romania is actually ignored. And the same thing as well, Romania is guaranteed by Czechoslovakia, but so am I. So those both guarantees, they get cancelled out. It's how the guarantees work in South America. People always go, well, how are you able to declare war on nations in South America and not cause America to join? Well, the reason is because they're all guaranteed by America. So the result of that is nobody gets guaranteed because the guarantees cancel each other out. Now you're at war with 2 nations. And then in that war, if you are successful, you basically get to gobble up a huge amount of land in one go without spiking world tension. Of course, in this situation with a peace conference and you would take the land, world tension would spike ridiculously high. But in that situation, now you've declared war on 2 nations and successfully annexed them. So in this case, if you were playing as Yugoslavia, what you could do is wait for Hungary to go fascist. You justify on them. The UK isn't going to guarantee a fascist nation, but remember, you have to wait for it to go fascist. And therefore, you've got a massive Balkan alliance. When everyone is guaranteed, no one is. Yes, exactly. But we're not done yet. Oh, we're not done yet. There is another way of justifying, another method, a different technique. I want to be totally honest with you. I actually don't know the most beneficial technique for this. What causes the least amount of world tension, which is quicker, and which one costs the least amount of political power. All those 3 factors are big things. But let's show you the other method, and I'll let you guys test it out, and you guys can tell me in the comments below which method is the most efficient for world tension, political power, and time. And time is a big deal. All right, here we are now as the Czechoslovakian Union. So here is another method. So in this method, instead of justifying on 3 states, you justify on a single state, 250 days. Then you justify on a single state for the other nation, 365 days. Then you go back to the original nation, cancel your justification, and then re-go for the justification. Now they're synchronized to happen on the exact same day. Now I presume this method may actually be a bit quicker, but it might cost more political power. I'll let you guys test that one out. But this method is a little more simple. Be aware, there are some factors that could come into play that could affect your ability to declare war at the same time on the same day. For instance, if a nation has gone for the advisor, which is the Prince of Terror, but if you justify on them, it takes a little bit longer. Can you see that? Heinrich Himmler plus 30% extra justification time. I believe that's also the amount it costs too. It would make political power cost more to justify on war on Germany in this circumstance, and it also take more time as well. So if one, for instance, there's an example, I've done this a few times where Yugoslavia goes for the Prince of Terror early. In that circumstance, the justification might not work out. In that case, you might have to justify for more states. You might have to change your timings just a little bit so they synchronize a little bit of a later date. You have to be smart about it. I'll be honest, when that happens, things get a little bit complex. But overall, guys, there you go. There's the 2 methods. You get to do the double justification technique, which is endorsed by Paradox Interactive. Kind of. Unofficially, officially. Hey, did you enjoy this video? Don't forget to like and subscribe. No, seriously, subscribe. Bitch. You think this video was good? Well, this one is the final form. Click it.